Is the caller number 21 on the phone right now? Is he on the phone right now? Is that number 21 there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Desmond Howard on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you remember that, Desmond?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I remember it all too well.
Well, did Bo tell the team that we're going to kick it to the Rocket again and you're going to tackle him? Did he tell you guys that in the halftime of that game at the Big House in '89?
Oh, man, to be honest with you, I wasn't on the special teams. So I don't know what the instructions were at that point. And I was just, it was one of those overcast, kind of dreary, rainy days. And, you looking at this guy, you thought, okay, he returned the first one. But, they're going to kick it to him the second time. And there's no way he's going to return a second kickoff return for a touchdown in the Big House. And lo and behold, that dude, I remember my boy Corin Brown trying to catch him. Like, Corin doesn't stand a chance of catching a Rocket. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was disheartening to see this dude return 2 kickoffs in the Big House for touchdown.
Yeah, and but what was it like being coached by Bo Schembechler, Desmond?
The best, man, Rich. The absolute wow. He's my favorite coach of all time on any level, and I've won a Super Bowl and everything. And
yep.
But this guy, man, he was just. I tell people all the time, he was the perfect person for that. I guess you would call it that transition from becoming a young man to a man. Because you go to school, go to college at about 17 or 18 years old. You come out, you're like 21, 22. You're a man at that point, and he was just. He has so much integrity. He was a guy who would look you in the eyes and tell you exactly the truth. There was no sugarcoating it, and he wasn't trying to, BS you, but he expected you to handle situations like a young man, and that's the way he treated you, and those were his expectations. And he was just, man, unbelievable coach, unbelievable guy, really, really hard on us. But you appreciated it once you understood his methodology, and you knew that despite how hard he was on you, you knew he cared about you. You knew that he loved you. And he didn't you see some coaches today, and you watch their sideline demeanor, and it's almost degrading how they treat some of their players. And even though Bo was tough on us, and, he was no nonsense, and, he was in our face, he was a rough guy, you still got the feeling that he cared about you. He wasn't never trying to degrade you or belittle you. And so he was my favorite coach. I can talk about Coach Schembechler all day.
Me too, Desmond Howard. Me too. But the question is, speaking of finding the right guy and transitioning, what happens now in Ann Arbor? Because so many people, when they hear folks like you and me, we had Charles Woodson on yesterday, talk reverentially about these times, that because of the 21st century and what college football is now, that there's no way to recapture it in Ann Arbor. And that's such a feeling of desolation, certainly over the last 2 coaching staffs not winning, and or at least not performing in a manner that we've come to expect it, and we're called arrogant for it. Where do you stand on this subject, Desmond?
Well, Rich, we're in a really, really tough position if you look at the big picture, because the 3 most powerful people at the University of Michigan are the president, the AD, and the head football coach. And all of those positions have been compromised in one way or another. We have a brand-new president who just came from, I believe, Brown University. And obviously, I'm sure you're aware that, he spoke about a month ago, and then he was doing good when he talked about academics, because that's in his wheelbarrow. But then he tried to venture off to athletics, and he kind of put his foot in his mouth, had to come back out and apologize and recant statements. So we have this brand new president, Mark Schlissel, who doesn't have a great understanding of the importance of intercollegiate sports, especially football, especially at a school like the University of Michigan. Then we have an interim AD, Jim Hackett. I think he's a brilliant man, but he has that interim tag right now in front of his name, and that can turn some big-time head coaches off, especially when you're out there searching for a big-time head coach. Like you said, the last 2 head coaches haven't performed up to our expectations, so therefore now we're looking for a new coach. So you have you're in a position where you got to hire a new head coach, one of the 3 most powerful people at the university. The athletic director has an interim tag in front of his name. I think he's going to do a thorough job in researching and gathering data, but you have to be concerned when he has the term interim in front of the athletic director, because some big name head coaches may get turned off by that. And then, like I said, you have a brand new president. So the situation is very interesting and very unique. And I think that this hire is probably, the biggest, most important, most significant hire that we've seen in quite some time up in Ann Arbor.
Well, let's call it brass tacks. I'm on with Desmond Howard here, of the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN Heisman Trophy winner. The Heisman is going to be given out this Saturday. We'll talk about that in a moment. But so you've got an academic president, and
right.
and if you're a big-time head coach, as you pointed, you're thinking maybe I can't get the players through that I need because of the academics, and then you've got a guy who's going to be hiring you that might not be around. Is that what you think might be keeping this process? Whereas other schools have already filled the spot. So
right.
You sit here thinking that either there's somebody out there who's hemming and hawing over it, or perhaps he's at the professional level that they have to wait for the NFL season to get through. What do you read in these tea leaves, Desmond?
Well,
Howard?
I just see those, Rich, as very unique but significant factors in this process. So there's nothing. That's just so rare. The three most powerful people at the university, in some way, form, or fashion, has been kind of compromised, and then you have to go through this process where everyone's involved. Like every guy has a role to play, and so I think that I think that since it's so unique and so rare that it may be a factor, but I think I have a lot of confidence that Jim Hackett is putting together a group that he's going to feel very confident in, and that they will be able to bring a guy, because you look at those three factors, but you still understand that Michigan is a tremendous job. That's one of the top jobs in college football. But I'm just telling you about the three factors, because that's so rare and so unique that most universities, you look at Florida, they didn't have to go through that, so they were able to pretty much pinpoint the guy they wanted, and they went and got him from Colorado State. Same thing with Nebraska. They're not dealing with that. So we're dealing with a very rare and unique situation that I tried to explain, as far as the president, the interim AD, and then everybody, got to chime in to bring in this head coach. And this head coach is looking at a situation where, how stable is this, and what type of support will I have if I go to University of Michigan?
Last question on this. You think Harbaugh's a pipe dream? Is he a pipe dream?
Rich, this is how I see Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh is a really, really good coach, and his track record speaks to it. The proof is in the pudding. So we know that he's a very good coach. We know that he's been successful in the NFL. We know that he's been successful in college when he's at Stanford. I just see Harbaugh right now as being like that, probably like the cutest girl at the school who everybody wants to take to the prom.
Yes, me. I want him. I'll take him to the prom. I'll send the burgundy limo that I hired in Staten Island back in 1986 to go get him for the prom.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I see the Harbaugh situation. It's like everyone wants to court him, college and NFL alike, and so he's like the most beautiful girl in high school. Everyone wants to take to the prom, so now she has all these choices, and it's almost like if she goes to the prom with you, then she's doing you a favor. It's kind of has that sense to it. Now, I could be dead wrong. I hope I am, but just when I speak to different people and you hear stories about Jim and how, the Jets will probably come after him, Oakland will probably come after him, and it's just like, because I guess my thing is, Rich, if I was in coaching like Jim, nothing would satisfy me more than to say, to hell with all of this, I'm going up to Ann Arbor and I'm getting that ship right. That's going to be my coaching legacy. I want to go back to Ann Arbor, and I want to get this thing right. I want to get this program back to where it belongs. That's my only goal in coaching right now. But see, Jim, because he's been so successful, he could say, well, I kind of want to go back to the Super Bowl to see if I can win one. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, there's so much going on. There's personal things,
Exactly.
Maybe he likes living out in Northern California, all that good stuff. Before I let you go, Desmond, the Heisman Trophy, a lot of people think this is Mariota's to lose. And a lot of people are wondering, the off-the-field stuff, is that why Winston wasn't on the ballot, you think, again? I mean, he won it last year, Desmond.
Yeah, I think that, there were some people who put him on the ballot. I listened to Charles. Charles said he was on his ballot.
Yep.
So there's some people who put him on the ballot. I just think that the off-the-field stuff did not help, but statistically, he wasn't as exciting as he was a year ago. And I think when you have the year that he had in 2013, then you set the bar real high, and it becomes very challenging for you to repeat. That's how come we only have one repeat Heisman Trophy winner. So everyone had the expectations of the Winston in 2014 that they saw in 2013. So for him to come into games and throw interceptions, multiple interceptions in the first half, I think that really started to turn a lot of voters off as far as him being a repeat Heisman Trophy winner, and then they left him off his ballot. And then you got three guys who had fantastic, just extraordinary seasons too, in Amari Cooper, Melvin Gordon, and Marcus Mariota.
Desmond, I'm already letting you know right now I want you back on this program. Certainly,
let's do it, my man. Please, anytime.
Certainly,
anytime,
as we get set for this college playoff, and say hi to Fowler. He's one of my favorite people on the planet.
Will do, for sure.
You bet. That's Desmond Howard.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.